I'm on a mission to find the best hardtail in the world, and today we get to try out the fully revamped 2023 Ragley Big Al. This is Hardtail Quest. So why a hardtail? What's all the fanfare about with a mountain bike with no rear suspension? Well, for starters, they are much cheaper than full suspension bikes, making them much more accessible for mountain bikers just starting out. But they're also a ton of fun for the seasoned rider because they make the trails that you've already conquered more challenging again. They're simplistic, easy to maintain, and just downright fun. So for season 1 of Hardtail Quest, the rules are only aluminum frame, so that means a mountain bike with no rear suspension. All frames must be 29-inch versions and medium regardless of the brand. And I'll be swapping all of my parts onto each and every frame. I'm coming off my KOM bike, the 2022 Ragley Big Al, that I have not been getting along with lately. So I'm hoping that the new geometry on the Big Al fixes that, but let's strip down this bike. Before we get into the changes of the new Ragley, a moment from our sponsors. Warning, it's hot and you may get dehydrated. And drinking water is not enough. You need salt. No, not that salt. Introducing Element Electrolyte Drink Mix. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. No junk, no sugar, tastes great, it's salty AF. And best of all, if you buy a 120 pack, it's just $1.10 per serving. That's so cheap. And with any purchase, we'll throw in a free sample pack. Plus, try out the all-new flavor, grapefruit salt. Here's how to order. Head to drinkelement.com/Evan. That's drinklmnt.com/Evan. Finally, an electrolyte mix that's salty AF. All right, so like I said, I haven't really been getting along with this bike lately. And I know that I complain about bikes quite a bit, but when you're on a quest to find the best hardtail in the world, you gotta be critical. And if a bike doesn't gel with you, then it is what it is. But it should all change with this fully revamped 2023 Ragley Big Al, and basically everything changed, well, besides the head tube badge. So let's get building. First up is a super drastic change, making this bike maybe even considered to be a hardcore hardtail now. The head tube angle is now 63.5. That's slacker than my common salt Enduro. The fork is still supposed to be 140 millimeters travel, but now the stack height is drastically taller than the last generation. And that was my biggest problem with the older Ragley. I've been feeling like the front end was just not present at all. And that means like the bars felt super low, the front end felt like kind of sucked in like way closer to me, and I couldn't do anything about it. So we'll see how this one goes. Another big change is the reach is now 15 millimeters longer. So that'll make the stem and the bars feel way further out from my center point. Well, on paper that is. So can you believe I've had my black Ragley for 5 months now and I never installed a dropper post? But now it's time. The only problem was I didn't want to buy another dropper post because it's like 31.6. So I got a shim and that will go in there. But that brings me to the next major change on this bike. The C-tube angle went from 72 and is now 75. Meaning that while I'm pedaling, I'm gonna be in a much more forward position, and I think a lot more comfortable, especially on the steep climbs. So another major change is the wheelbase. The wheelbase is now 26 millimeters longer. I mean, that's expected, right? The fork is all choppered out now, so that makes the front wheel way further out. But with all that, they truly made this Big Al into a true hardcore hardtail. Man, that frame swap was so easy. I love external cable routing. But with that, what do you guys think of the blue? Man, I just love the look of this. I actually asked Ragley for the white version, but I'm actually kind of glad they sent me the blue. But that brings me to the ranking system, with the first category being the looks. How does the frame look? The welds, the shape of the tubing, just overall feel, the build quality? So with this Ragley in the look category, it's definitely better than the last generation Ragley. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. The front triangle is bigger. I really like the paint job. The welds are pretty good, and I'll give that a 3 out of 5 because they're just, average. Oh, and you're gonna see later the tricky thing that I'm doing is scoring all this. But as for the tubing shape, it's just kind of round everywhere, and I like hydroform tubing. So I'll give the overall shape of the tubing and the feel there, I'll give that a 2 out of 5. Other reviews on this bike mentioned how it's the most compliant hardtail around. And a compliant hardtail means even though there's no rear suspension, that the frame will flex in a way to absorb all the bumps. And I just don't see how it could be with round tubing pretty much everywhere. I mean, I guess they could change the thickness of the tubing, but there's just no way of checking that. But let's go ride. All right, well, we've been riding for quite a bit now off camera. Charles, how long do you think you've been riding for?
I think about 50 minutes.
Yeah, 50 minutes. Yeah, so I've got a pretty good sense of how this bike fits. And I'm 5'9", and I'm right on the edge of maybe wanting a longer stem. But other than that, I just love the long wheelbase. But for the fit, I'll give it a 4.3. The compliance, I actually feel it on this iteration. The last iteration, I didn't feel any compliance pretty much at all. So I don't know if they did anything different or if it matters that it actually fits me better, but I do feel that this thing is absorbing bumps. So I'll give the compliance a 3.8. All right, let's go climb this thing. This thing climbs pretty good, and I really like how they made the C-tube angle a lot more forward. So at the end of the day, it's still an average climber, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. And I know 3 sounds bad, but you know, 3 is average. We're going for perfection. All right, now it's time for some fun. Oh yeah, let's get ready for some flow. Jumps, turns. Oh yeah, so much flow. Got some turns. Oh, it turns so well. All right, let's see the compliance braking bumps. Oh, barely felt them. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So much flow. This thing rides like a BMX bike. As for the flow, man, this bike flows so well. Kicker lip. Yeah. I'm gonna give the flow a 5. This bike is so good with flow. All right, for the cornering, way better than the last version. I'm gonna give the cornering, wow, whoa, a little bit too much speed. I'll give the cornering a 4.2. All right, let's test some jumps. Oh yeah, yeah. All right, I'm gonna give the jumping 5. Yeah, let's go. Bonus line. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, sorry, got a little sidetracked. That brings me to the last category, and that is probably the most important, tech. I think a hardtail's ability to ride technical single track is way more important than flow. I mean, where I'm from in Phoenix, there was no flow trails at all. And if I'm gonna get some seat time and grind out some miles in the woods, I'm taking a hardtail, so let's go find out. Yeah, when I'm not filming for the channel, I spend most of my time riding this kind of stuff. Yeah, I love this kind of stuff, man. Yeah, I need something stable and precise, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, high line. Oh, I love this stuff. Yes. Yeah, so I give the single track a 4.5. Really fun doing this kind of stuff on this bike. All right, the second to last category is tech climbing. Not bad, not bad. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give tech climbing it was average, nothing too crazy. I'll give it a 3.8. All right, last category, chunk. Oh yeah. Oh, this thing is peppy. Let's go. Man, that chunk was fun. I think I'm gonna have to give the chunk a 4 out of 5, but let's head back to the shop.
Wow, what a blast. So with the scoring, not every category is gonna be worth the same. Sure, everything gets scored out of 5, but then it's gonna be weighted for importance. Just like the looks doesn't matter as much as actually how the bike rides and feels, and also single track matters more than flowy jump lines. So with that, I've got myself a leaderboard, starting with the last gen Ragley with a respectable 60 out of 100. Yeah, in terms of grade school, that's a D-, but this isn't Miss Thompson's class. I'm scoring hardtails very strictly, and if something is average, 3 out of 5. I don't want to be throwing around 5 out of 5s unless something is really special. So that gives the final score of the 2023 Ragley Big a 80 out of 100. Wow, with the way it felt, almost like my old BMX bike, I actually expected a lot higher of a score, but stay tuned, we got a lot more hardtails to test. Join us next week as we check out the all-new nuke-proof Scout. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all 8 episodes of Hardtail Quiz.